WITCHRIV Chapter 2 dropped yesterday, which was Wednesday. Today's Thursday, and let me tell you, it solidifies how brutal the world in which this series pertains to is. We have our main character, Nona, who I wasn't really expecting the setting in which we find ourselves in Chapter 2. Chapter 2, we're just immediately in a cell. Yeah, Chapter 1, we ended off with Nona. She was washed up by the river, the shore, and we see a black-haired girl who finds her, and it's revealed later on in this chapter she was just doing laundry and she happens to be finding her there. It is then revealed later on that the name of this girl, her name is Mira Mira. And then we also find out that Mira Mira actually so happens to be working for the Bureau, which, like I said before, I was not totally expecting. At the end of Chapter 1, I was thinking that this was, a girl that happened to just be living off in her own little shack, and she happens to be finding Nona washed up here. But it took a different turn, and might I say, I'm not disappointed by it. Nona in Chapter 2, from the get-go, you can see that she is still just as rebellious as she had been in Chapter 1. Chapter 1, she wanted to more so live peacefully with humans because she still believed that there are still good humans, and I think she might still hold true to this value, but I wonder if that'll change at all with this series as the chapters continue to pile on and the series continues to progress and whatnot. I wonder if that attitude will change or if it'll grow even stronger. We're in Chapter 2, we are in prison pretty much, and it is revealed in this facility that Mira Mira works there. She has a little block or a little band around her leg that happens to be having a lock, and it would need a special key to unlock it. It's also shown that the cell that Nona is currently in, the one that she's currently housed in at the moment, used to belong to Mira Mira's brother. Yes, Mira Mira had a whole family, just like any other character in this series. And we get to learn more so about Mira Mira and her backstory in this chapter. And I have a big feeling that she's going to be joining the crew here. One thing that'll never get old with manga for me is just seeing the progress of when characters just join the MC's crew. Like with One Piece, when he got Zoro, then he went after Nami, or he went after Nami and then got Zoro. So, seeing the whole progress of the crew forming, like I said with O Tier, I'm currently reading O Tier of the Flame. We recently got Kutin and we got Etsuberko. I love that. I love seeing the progress, and so we're kind of getting that here already with WITCHRIV. We're being introduced to this next character who I am assuming is going to be joining up with Nona, and we'll get to how we get to that. We'll get to how we get to that, but first, we're going through Mira Mira's backstory, and like I said, it was revealed she used to share a cell with her brother. And if you don't know what Ervil is in this series, Ervil is a place that mages ended up getting sent to. Now, we don't know exactly what happens at Ervil. We don't know if Ervil is just a symbol for hell or something in that series. We just know that's where mages get sent to. We don't know what happens to them. They probably get executed. We don't know. They could be still alive. Could be a special facility. We don't know. I don't know, at least. The author knows, though. In Chapter 2, we get to see her brother, and of course this is a flashback, but we see Mira Mira's ideals and we see her brother's ideals. And Mira Mira is a character, when introduced with this backstory, we learn that she would rather be alone because, mages. She doesn't want to risk making friends because what if they snitch? It's a mage. And in this story in WITCHRIV, being a mage runs in the blood. It is a passed down trait. So having the risk of making more friends just introduces you to people who might possibly snitch, parents who would find out eventually and would snitch, so she would rather just be alone. But her brother holds a different, take on this. While he does agree it is easier to be alone, he would much rather go and connect with people and do what he wants to do in the world, because there are places he wants to go, food he wants to eat, things he wants to see. He would rather just go with what his heart truly wants, which is to just go out there and not have to worry about people finding out he's a mage. And if they do, they do. But not all things are going to be happy in this story. That's what I've learned so far. Not all things are happy in this story, because we find out that their father died, and he died of an illness that only mages in Ervil contract. And the Bureau was able to then connect this. Yo, if there's one thing I need to say, it is that, listen, I hate the Bureau. Everybody hates the government in this manga. I don't know a single person who likes the Bureau in this manga so far. Let me say, they get to hating this Bureau. They hate on levels I didn't know was possible of hating. Like, bro, chapter 1, we were able to see just how crazy this Bureau is. I mean, in chapter 1, Lovie, she broke her glasses, right? Somebody, a witness happened to see her break her glasses, right? This would be something I wouldn't even care to like pay attention to in this world. Okay, she broke her glasses. She might have another pair somewhere else, right? Dude, Nona fixed her glasses for her. She came walking outside with those same glasses. That same person who saw her broke her glasses went and told the Bureau, because apparently it takes like 3 days for the company that makes those glasses to make another pair. But like I said, she could have just had another pair. That's what I would have thought if I was in that world. But no, the Bureau was immediately arresting Lovie's family, and I'm just reviewing chapter 1 again just because of how good it is. I don't want to get off sidetrack, but you know what I'm saying. The Bureau in this manga gets to hating on levels I didn't think was possible. They are haters. If All For One can contract these dudes to his team, he would, because they are ridiculous. But anyway, they go to the family's home and they arrest both Mira and her brother, and they take them into a cell. The funny thing, it was actually found out later that no, humans can contract this illness too, but because they already arrested him and didn't want to let them go, they said, bump it, we're just going to keep y'all here anyway, you're going to work for us. And then not only do we find out that Mira and her brother's going to have to work for them, they're not even supposed to be keeping mages at this facility anyway. Yes, at this facility, right, before they send people off to Ervil, right, they're not supposed to be mages working there. But there's like only four workers there from last I checked, or what this manga's been saying, and they're not supposed to be keeping them there. Which makes me even more curious on Ervil. What is Ervil, right? What is happening in Ervil? I need to know. I know you're wondering, how did her brother end up getting caught? Or if you were already ready, you're waiting for me to get to that. Well, it turns out that Mira finds a room that has a bunch of keys in it, and the guard finds her there and unleashes a 100-hit wombo combo on her, unfortunately. But Mira then hatches a plan with her brother to escape, because she found the keys. She knows where the room is. They can get out. So she writes down on a note, you know, the keys, their shift schedule and stuff like that. She writes down their shift schedule, what the guards do. And then this is where things go bad. A guard found that paper to immediately deduce that no one else would have wrote this, so one of you wrote this, because why else would you need this if you're not gonna try and escape? And so her brother ends up taking the fall for her. He says, no, I'm the one who did that, send me off. And so they do. And that's where her backstory ends. And in the next panel, after she is done explaining, we then see that Nona is heartbroken to hear that. She looks very sad. And so we see in the next panel, right, Nona looks extremely sad, but in reality, she's hatching a plan. Guard comes in, and like I said, the Bureau is crazy. A guard comes in, right, and he tells, all right, Mira, you're gonna get sent to Ervil. And she's just absolutely confused. What? I work for you, right? I'm doing all this stuff for you, I work for you? And the guard's like, well, hey, listen, we found a bunch of people dead. The government's just gonna go ahead and say we're gonna go ahead and pin this on you, pretty much. We're gonna pin this on you. It's gonna be your fault. You're going to Ervil. And she's like, what? What happened? What? And in the midst of this, I accidentally tapped my mic, but in the midst of this, the guard looks over and he sees, how can I frame this without YouTube like going haywire on me? We see Nona swaying. You know what that means. If you don't, God bless your heart. But she swang from the window. You maybe got what I'm trying to say here now. She is sitting here with the chair knocked over, right? And the guard is immediately distressed. He goes in and opens the cell. And that is exactly why I keep going back to this point about Ervil, right? Because obviously Nona's supposed to be getting sent over to Ervil. If Nona being dead disturbs you, if y'all hate mages so much, I wouldn't mind if this mage was dead. But her being dead, he's like, what am I gonna tell this? How am I gonna tell this to HQ? This is great. This is great. Yeah, I was about to start yapping. That's how great this is. I was about to start yapping. This is how great this is. He's like, you better not be dead. How am I supposed to tell HQ? And then Nona suddenly jolts up and she uses her magic, her spell, which is called Autoare? It's Autoare, right? She wraps this man up and ties him to the bed, and then she puts the little sewing needle, because that's a part of her magic, up close to his eye. And man, it was so kick, it was badass. She steps down and she's like, all right, I need to find out where my mom is. Because at the end of chapter 1 of WITCHRIV, we see that while her mom and Nona were escaping, a huge magic circle appears, right? And then pretend that this is a gun. A bunch of these pop out of this magic circle and just start shooting. It was ridiculous. I was like, oh my God. She is trying to find out where the mother is, and so she leaves. It looks like they're about to interrogate him, because this is exactly where the chapter ends. By the way, I did record some of my reaction to that panel with her swaying. I will actually try and see if I can go ahead and clip that later on in the video. But we end off this chapter with Nona asking Mira a question. What do you want to do? Because as you can see, the cell's open. The cell is open. Now, she still does have that little band around her leg, and it acts like a tracker. That's what she said. It acts like a tracker, so it can track her movements, but I'm assuming we're gonna go ahead and unlock that, right? But she asks Mira, what do you want to do? You want to escape here, right? Because all I want to do is live with my friends and family in peace. That's all I want. That's what Nona says. That is my dream. That is what I seek. It is what I desire. And that's where we come back with, I think Mira is going to join her. I hope she doesn't die. I pray she doesn't die in this next chapter or anything like that. I will be severely sad. But at this point, with how brutal this series is, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm like 70% thinking she's gonna join, 30% thinking she's gonna die. I hope she doesn't. I would love to see what her magic is, because we know that she's a mage, right? We know she's a mage, but we don't know what her magic power is. And so we are probably going to go ahead and see exactly what that is. And I can't wait. I can't. As for my theories for what might happen in next chapter, I don't know if this series is going to be weekly. There was like 53 pages in this first chapter, then 84 in the first. I don't know if this is going to be like a weekly chapter thing. I hope it is, but at the same time, if it's not, I hope the author gets as much rest as possible, because the author is freaking awesome with how this series is so far. This is one of my favorite things to look forward to on Wednesdays or Thursdays if I don't read it on Wednesday. But like I said before, my theories for chapter 3, I am thinking that we're going to probably run into some more guards, right? And we're going to probably escape. I hope we do actually escape. Or we might end off chapter 3 with seeing her spell, her wand, her magic. And I cannot wait. Now, I think along the lines in this series, we are probably actually going to go ahead and meet a mage who actually happens to be for real working for the Bureau. Like, you know, a mage in a Bureau officer's uniform. We're probably going to get that. We're probably going to see that. But I think the main antagonist so far of this story, he was introduced at the end of chapter 1. His name is Garte. I think so far he's going to be the main, or maybe he's just a puppet controlled on a string. Maybe perhaps the actual main antagonist of WITCHRIV happens to be a mage themselves. We don't know. I never will know. Not until we get to it. Cannot wait to be back here next week for the next episode of WITCHRIV. Thank you all for taking times out of your day for watching. It means the world to me. Y'all could be doing anything else right now. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and peace out. 07.